you did hear about the passing of Black Bart, right?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, it's
Yes, I
very,
did.
very sad. Did
He
you
was
know Black
sweet.
Bart very well?
No, I didn't know him very well, but I met him in Dallas. And I met him
Okay.
when we would do he would come and hang out when we did TV in Dallas. And Bradshaw, they were very close. And Bradshaw
really?
was up. Yeah, because he was one of the guys. Black Bart was one of the guys that broke him in. And
Oh, wow.
he just would just bust in balls, the whole time with Black Bart. Kevin, get over here. Kevin Kelly, come here. I want you to tell me who the toughest man was ever to ride a horse, the first man to ever ride a horse into Reunion Arena. And I'm like, well, that was you, of course. And I knowing full well that it was Black Bart. Oh, you son of a bitch. Kevin, I don't even know you, and I want to fight. Just what a sweetheart.
Wow.
A sweetheart of a man.
I grew up watching him. Probably you did too, as in Florida. He was a mainstay for a long time in championship wrestling from Florida with Gordon Soley and Dusty and Blackjack. And, he was with Ron Bass and J.J. Dillon. It brings me back to my childhood when even I talk about that stuff,
Right.
And I remember doing TV for WF, and he was one of the enhancement guys. Him and
Ooh.
Pistol Pez Watley was there. And so it was cool, I don't know about now, but, you hear people say that enhancement guys had their own dressing room. That wasn't the case at all. Never was the case. Whenever I ever did TV, we were never separated. Now, did we choose to sit by ourselves at times? Sure. That happens everywhere. I remember once we were up in Kansas once, and myself and a couple other guys, we trying to stay away from everyone, and we were in the broiler room of the arena, and all of a sudden Flair came in. Yeah, Flair came in and said, "Hey guys, you care if I dress with you guys?" We're like, "No, Rick, get out of here. Of course not. You can't come in our locker." No. But we were like, of course, And so he came in and took over and did his whole thing and everything. And but yeah, it's not like that. So I mean, I've dressed next to everybody, And so,
Right.
but yeah, I do remember seeing him, and I know was going through a lot of cancer treatment and stuff like that. So it's very sad. He was a big part of my childhood growing up,
No doubt. And again, there were definitely some bloody wars that Black Bart was involved in. And if you go back and you watch like Starrcade '86, for example, there was blood in every match, but it was the blow off to all these programs. So that was what you did back then. Me personally, I'm like, I get it, and I always understood it. I never said a match needed it. I always said if the guys wanted to do it, okay. At the end of the day, if it didn't happen, would the fans burn the seats and riot? No, of course not.
Right.
I think today it's very passé. I think everybody knows how it's done, so I would not do it.
Right.
But that's just me. I'm like, why? If it's not needed, why do it? I'm always the minimalist when it comes to wrestling.
I was the same way. If it was needed, we're not doing it just for the sake of doing it. My partner would want to do it all the time. I'm like, why? It doesn't make sense for you to do that. I think he just wanted scars on his head and stuff like that.
Some guys were like that. It was, I know Les Thatcher, my dear friend Les Thatcher, talked to me about Cowboy Bob Ellis. And that he was like that. He was always like, he wanted to get, and they were like, no, it's not needed. What are you doing?
Wow.
And this would be in this, the sperm of the moment, as Dr. Tom would say.
Well, I was looking through some of my memorabilia, and I have, I've mentioned before, we grew up we started off in Michigan. My parents used to go to all, the Sheik's territory, Cobo Hall, all those places, and I have pictures from the 70s. Some were Cowboy Bob Ellis, the Stomper, Ben Justice, Bobo Brazil, the Sheik. I mean, all of them. It's kind of interesting looking through that old photo album. I think the most bizarre piece of memorabilia I have was I wasn't able to go to the matches. It was in Fort Myers, and I remember the tag team. I think it was Brickhouse Brown, the break dancers. They were in Florida for a little while.
Yes.
So apparently somebody pulled out one of his dreads.
Ooh.
I actually have the dread.
What?
My dad came with a napkin and said, "Hey, I got you something from the matches." I looked at it and I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. You can see the dandruff on it. It's in my photo to this day still.
We got to take a picture. You got to put that picture up.
Would you like your hair back?
I need to, because and Brickhouse Brown probably would have wanted it back and would have turned around and sold it. The idea too of things being passed down over the years and the business not really, changing that much. I've got to talk about, and I will talk about what's going on with Chris Charlton, my friend in New Japan. I've got to talk about
Okay.
it.